Ever do something as a kid that looking back on it now just seems wonderfully illogical?
Oh, absolutely.
Today's deep dive is all about that, plus a whole lot of Brigitte Bardot.
Sounds intriguing.
So you, dear listener, decided to send a fan letter and somehow ended up running the American Fan Club.
It's amazing how kids approach problems, isn't it?
Yeah,
That blend of naivete and pure, unadulterated creativity is something else.
totally. And your story, as documented in Brigitte Bardot fanclub.txt, is a perfect example.
I love it already.
So picture this. Pre-internet, you want to write to Brigitte Bardot.
Okay.
Simple enough, right?
Seems straightforward enough.
No fan club websites back then, so you turned to comic book ads?
The original influencer.
Right.
Yeah.
You were convinced that these ads held the key to connecting with your idol. And they led you to buy a whole pamphlet of fan clubs, hoping to find Bardot's.
Which I'm guessing wasn't listed.
No, but here's where that kid logic kicks in.
Oh, I love this.
Giving up, not an option.
Right.
Instead, you contact the pamphlet publisher directly asking them to add Brigitte Bardot.
Bold move.
Right.
I bet they get asked that all the time.
You'd think so. But instead of saying, get in line, kid, they give you a real shot.
No way.
Real response, sure, start the fan club. If you can show us Brigitte Bardot gave you the thumbs up.
Wait, so they actually entertained the idea?
I know.
That's wild.
Right.
It really highlights the more informal vibe of those times.
Oh, absolutely.
Today, it would be lawyers and disclaimers galore.
Oh, absolutely. But undeterred, you enlist your Uncle Hank, because who hasn't been there?
Oh, yeah.
And somehow, your Uncle Hank, through methods unknown to even us today, produces an address.
Whoa.
Not just any address. Brigitte Bardot's address.
Now, that's a story in itself.
Right.
Makes you wonder about those pre-internet networks.
Yeah.
Information traveled so differently back then, relying on word of mouth and personal connections.
Totally. So armed with this address, you draft a brand new letter, you pull out your best stationery, maybe even a glitter pen.
It works.
No, definitely. But here's the kicker.
But
You were certain that to truly connect with your idol, a regular phone call wouldn't do. You needed to rewire it.
okay, you have to tell me, did this rewired phone actually work?
Right.
Or was Brigitte Bardot humoring a dedicated young fan from across the globe?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Let's just say reality has a way of surprising us, and this story is full of surprises.
I can't wait to hear more.
But before we get to that, it's like that old saying, if you want to make the universe laugh, tell it your plans.
Oh, tell me about it.
Because you, my friend, instead of getting a polite thanks but no thanks, you get a letter back.
And not just any letter.
Right.
This one's from the fan club pamphlet publisher, and they're practically rolling out the red carpet.
They're ready to make you the president of the American Brigitte Bardot fan club.
I love it.
All because you sent a letter and maybe had a helpful Uncle Hank.
It speaks to that anything is possible energy of the time, don't you think?
Yeah.
A time before the internet when a handwritten letter could open doors that seem unimaginable today.
It makes you wonder if we've lost a bit of that magic, you know?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But I think it also highlights the power of simple, direct action, something this listener clearly wasn't afraid of.
Totally. But there was one tiny problem with this whole president of the fan club situation.
You were about to have a very busy mailbox.
Bingo. Letters addressed to the Brigitte Bardot fan club start pouring in, but you had nowhere to send them.
Oh, no.
Because you still hadn't actually connected with Brigitte Bardot herself.
A classic case of the cart before the horse. But you didn't panic, did you?
Not this listener.
Okay, good.
Once again, Uncle Hank to the rescue. A letter arrives seemingly from Bardot, though likely translated, with detailed instructions on what to do with the mountain of fan mail.
And these weren't your typical send to this P.O. box instructions. You were asked to become the gatekeeper of Bardot fandom.
Okay, I need the Cloak's Notes version. What exactly did Bardot want you to do with all these letters?
Picture this. You, surrounded by stacks of envelopes, carefully opening each one, reading the heartfelt messages, picking out the most interesting ones, and to top it all off,
Wait for it.
you were instructed to punch holes in the letters, put them in a binder, and mark your favorite lines with smiley faces.
Smiley faces? No way. That's amazing. Did you have a special pen? Were you a multicolored smiley face kind of kid or strictly yellow?
It's such a charmingly specific detail. You can practically feel the weight of those binders, filled with dreams and aspirations, all neatly organized and adorned with smiley faces.
It's giving major Pen 15 vibes. But okay, hold on. The story gets even wilder because shortly after that, Who shows up at your doorstep?
None other than Brigitte Bardot herself.
Brigitte Bardot in the flesh at your house.
Talk about a plot twist.
Right. And it's not a quick hello either. She actually sits down, goes through the binders of fan mail, even signs her name next to your smiley faces.
That sounds like something out of a movie. And yet those small personal touches, like you introducing her to your elephant and Annabelle, make it feel incredibly real.
Oh, wait, back up a sec. You had an elephant, like a pet elephant.
Right.
Okay, now I need details.
I know, right? It's those little glimpses into your world that make this story so captivating.
Agreed. It's proof that sometimes real life is stranger than fiction. But as with all good things, this visit eventually had to end. Okay, so Brigitte Bardot is at your house looking at fan mail. You're introducing her to Annabelle and an elephant.
I know I need to hear more about that elephant situation too. But first tell me, how do you say goodbye to an international icon?
Oh, man, I don't even know where I'd start.
Well, in our listener's case, they turned to their trusty French dictionary.
Okay.
And that, my friend, is where things took another unexpected turn.
Oh, no.
Because nothing says smooth exit. Like
Yeah,
accidentally telling Brigitte Bardot it's over. Right?
Yeah, no.
You talk about the infamous Finite incident. I have to admit, I chuckled when I read that part.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a sitcom. But also
Uh-uh.
kind of heartbreaking.
Right. Bardot was at the height of her fame, then surrounded by publicists and handlers. I bet a blunt finite wasn't exactly common dialogue.
Exactly. Here she was having this genuine, unscripted interaction and then finite. It makes you wonder how that abrupt ending landed on her. Did it make her smile remembering this refreshingly honest encounter? Or was there a tinge of sadness that the connection was, well, finite?
Ugh, my heart. You know, it reminds me of this time I was in Italy trying to order a cappuccino. Let's just say my Italian was more hand gestures than fluent, and I ended up with a plate of spaghetti instead. Sometimes, even with the best intentions, communication can go hilariously and awkwardly wrong.
It's a universal truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
But back to our story, because as you know, the finite incident wasn't the end of it. Enter Uncle Dick.
Dun, dun, dun.
And a phone call that seemingly changes everything.
Okay, that phone call still gives me chills. Uncle Dick clearly shaken, saying things have gone too far. This wasn't your average time for dinner kind of call.
Right. It was urgent, cryptic, and honestly a little terrifying.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that even with the most whimsical stories, there's always another layer aside we don't always see. And sometimes it's better that way.
Agreed. Some mysteries are best left unsolved. What we do know is that shortly after that phone call, you, our fan club president extraordinaire, decided to step down.
A resignation that, based on your Brigitte Bardot fanclub.txt file, seemed almost expected, like they knew it was coming.
Right. The pamphlet publisher didn't even blink. Just a simple, we understand, and an update to their listings. Brigitte Bardot, no known address.
The end of an era. It makes you wonder what those adults knew what happened behind the scenes to bring this whirlwind adventure to a close.
It's like that perfect storm of curiosity, a sprinkle of naivete, and the pre-internet world colliding to create something truly unforgettable. And it reminds us that sometimes the most impactful experiences come from following our passions, even if they lead to unexpected destinations. And maybe, just maybe, those unexpected destinations teach us the most valuable lessons of all. So next time you come across an old box of letters or a faded photograph, take a closer look. You never know what incredible story might be waiting to be rediscovered. Thanks for diving in depth with us today. This one was truly special.